welcome to One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing Ivoryton Playhouse's production of Alabama Story, written by Kenneth Jones, directed by Todd L. Underwood, and is running through October 20th at the Playhouse at 103 Main Street in Ivoryton, Connecticut. Hop your cottontail over to my Patreon page where you can support my work by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. There you get early access to my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee, where our latest episode, 8 Mile, is currently available for patrons only. You can also read old reviews and watch the occasional restaurant review and participate in polls. The latest one covering how many films in the George A. Romero Living Dead franchise we should watch. A link will be in the description. It's amazing and sometimes quite alarming how the past returns to us. Such is the case with Kenneth Jones's Alabama Story, as we follow the true story of Emily Wheelock Reed, played by Ivoryton Playhouse's artistic director, Jacqueline Hubbard, the director of the Alabama Public Library Service Division. It is part of Emily's responsibility to decide what books are to be disseminated throughout the public libraries of the state. Book banning has seemed to have a resurgence in recent years here in the United States, especially in states like Texas and Florida. Even here in Connecticut, we're not immune to it, as municipalities, especially in the realms of education, are being challenged with what material is being used or made available in the classroom and in school libraries. It's 1959, and Garth Williams's The Rabbits' Wedding has been recommended by the American Library Association, and Emily distributes copies of the children's book to various libraries. This doesn't sit well with Senator E.W. Higgins, played by Michael Irvin Pollard, an ardent segregationist conservative who wants the book removed from the shelves due to the story being about a black rabbit and a white rabbit marrying each other, claiming that it will corrupt the minds of our children and so forth. There is a B-plot as well, following Joshua Moore, played by Anthony Von Merchant, and Lily Whitfield, played by Allie Seibold. The two play as contemporary analogs of the two rabbits, Lily being the daughter of a plantation owner and Joshua, the son of a former servant on the plantation. Now adults, the two have a chance meeting, reflecting on their time together as children and their current lives. Conflict arises when Joshua presses on Lily's memory of the reason why he and his mother fled the plantation, a traumatic event she'd rather keep locked away in her memory, never to open and revisit. The two plots are both strong, but I don't know if they both need to be in the same play. The comparison is there, but I think both stories could have been stronger on their own as independent plays, where their respective narratives could have been fleshed out more instead of trying to combine them into a single 2.5-hour piece. There's a lot of great stuff here, and I think both stories, good as they are, have plenty of untapped narrative that could have been developed independently. Still, Alabama Story is a great tale, and unfortunately, a still timely one. Underwood and the Playhouse have presented an overall fantastic production. They acquired a new projector and used it effectively, with excellent design work by Jessica Drayton. I particularly like the detailed movements of illustrated bunnies that represent the children's book that have a lot of life to it without it being distracting to the performances on stage. Glenn Bassett's scenic design is clever as well, making the flats on either side of the stage look like open books as the flats taper off like pages. The smaller details of the set design are excellent as well, from Emily's meticulously tended office to the simple park bench with the whites only sign. This leads to Underwood's direction of the cast, who mostly gives dynamic, moving performances. The Lily and Joshua scenes in particular are delicately dealt with as Lily sits on that bench, but Joshua never gets too close, at risk of endangering himself and ostracizing Lily from the other white people in the community. It's subtle detailing of space that help Merchant and Seibold balance their characters' movements and emotions, especially the unspoken sexual tension between the two. Both give performances of breadth and depth, with a detailed give and pull as they address bigotry, loss, and faith, or the lack thereof. The other side of the story, following Emily and her battle with Senator Higgins, is a bit more uneven. Hubbard, who's somewhere in her mid-60s, is about 15 to 20 years too old to play Emily, as the real Emily was 48 to 49 at the time. Not that casting people older than the character's age is uncommon. It's more normal than it probably should be, and in this case it works against the character of Emily, as it felt like she needed to be a touch more youthful in her fervor to defend herself and the library against bigotry. The highlight of the Emily side of the story is Nicholas Tyler Corbin, who plays Thomas Franklin, who gives an impassioned performance as Emily's assistant. At one point, when Emily is swept up in fear and conspiracy, she begins to distrust everyone around her, and Corbin's monologue of Thomas's response to Emily is 3 minutes of some of the best acting this year in Connecticut. Pollard gives a solid performance as Higgins, but I think the delivery comes off a little cartoonish at times. I assume to provide some levity in the absurdity of his accusations. I know it's easy to point a finger at bigots and laugh. I do it sometimes myself. But I think it's an easy out for writers or directors to make them a little comical. I would prefer a little more darkness to the character of Higgins. There's another actor, Daryll Heysham, who plays several roles, including a congressman who is a mentor of Higgins, who also is used more for comic relief than any serious threat. Heysham is more compelling and honest as Garth Williams, the author of The Rabbits' Wedding, who plays as a sort of narrator of the play, and also as a reporter who interviews Emily. And one of the only real problems I have with Alabama Story is the play's opening, which has the characters give a prelude about telling stories. It's unnecessary, and the play already runs at 2.5 hours. We can start the play with the opening scene of Emily in her office, which frankly could be trimmed as well. Her opening monologue has her mostly talking about insignificant elements that have no bearing on the story and slows it down. But once those two parts are over, the play really trucks through and is overall excellent. Ivoryton Playhouse has produced a great production of Alabama Story. Most of my problems have to do with the script itself, not what Underwood has done with this production. Aside from a casting choice and a few relative minor directing choices, this is an amazing and timely piece, and people should really go see it. But I'm only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see Alabama Story, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be a link to my Patreon page as well as my social media pages, so please visit there to support my work and follow me. You can also support me by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be the off-Broadway play, Good Bones. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.